Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you with a message of hope, strength, and unwavering belief. In life, we face moments when it seems like everything is stacked against us, when the weight of the world presses down on our shoulders and the road ahead looks impossible to navigate. I want to remind you today, with all the sincerity in my heart, God will never fail you. So as you move forward, facing whatever challenges may come your way, remember, the toughest moments of your life may be preparing you for the greatest breakthrough you've ever experienced. If you can hold on to faith, if you can stand firm and trust, you will see that God will never fail you. The challenges we face in life can make us question our purpose, question our strength, and sometimes even question whether we're walking the right path. But here's the truth. God's plan for you is greater than any obstacle you might face. In every trial and every setback, God is working behind the scenes for your greater good. That doesn't mean the road will always be easy, but it does mean that you are never alone on that journey. You have a guide, a protector, a force that never leaves your side. In life, we often encounter moments that seem beyond our control, where everything we've worked for appears to be slipping through our fingers. The overwhelming weight of difficulties can sometimes make it feel as though the universe is conspiring against us. In these moments, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture and feel isolated or abandoned. There's a truth that transcends these feelings, a profound understanding that we can rely on. God will never fail you. This is a truth not just rooted in faith, but in the very nature of God's character. A character that is both consistent and unchanging, even in the face of life's most formidable challenges. When we think about God's will never failing us, we must first understand the nature of divine providence. Divine providence refers to God's active involvement in the world, a belief that God is constantly guiding and shaping the world around us. It's not merely that God created the world and left it to run its course. Rather, He is intimately involved in our lives, guiding us through each moment, supporting us when we falter, and ensuring that, in the end, all things will work together for our good. This providence is not limited by human constraints or time. It is beyond our understanding, often working in ways that we cannot see in the immediate moment, but always leading us toward a greater purpose. One of the greatest sources of comfort in knowing that God will never fail you is understanding that His plan for you is far more expansive and enduring than any challenge or setback you may encounter. Life's difficulties do not arise by chance. Rather, they serve a purpose in the grand narrative of our lives. Even when we can't see how it all fits together, God's plan is always working, shaping us, testing our faith, and leading us into a future that is beyond our imagining. Trials we endure, though painful and sometimes overwhelming, are not an indication of God's absence or failure to act. Rather, they are a part of His greater plan to refine us, build our character, and prepare us for what lies ahead. The concept of divine providence also means that God's love for us is constant. His presence in our lives is not conditional upon our circumstances. Whether we are in moments of joy or pain, success or failure, His love remains unwavering. This unshakable love ensures that God is always there, even when we don't feel His presence. There may be times when we wonder why things are happening the way they are, but rest assured, God's love is never contingent on our understanding or comfort. His plans are higher than our own, and His vision for our lives encompasses far more than we can ever comprehend. In times of uncertainty, this enduring love becomes a pillar of strength that we can lean on, knowing that He is guiding us even through the darkest of valleys. Another key aspect of this truth is the understanding that God is unchanging. Human beings are subject to change. Our moods, perspectives, and abilities fluctuate with time, but God remains the same yesterday, today, and forever. This consistency is a foundation upon which we can build our faith. When everything else in life feels unpredictable or unstable, God's unwavering nature provides us with a source of security. He is not a man who promises one thing and then fails to deliver. His promises are trustworthy because He is faithful to them, no matter the situation. Even when our own strength falters, God's strength is sufficient to carry us through. This is not just a theoretical truth. It is a deeply personal one. We can take comfort in the fact that no matter how uncertain life becomes, God is still in control, working behind the scenes to bring us through to the other side. When we are faced with challenges, it's easy to be consumed by fear, doubt, and discouragement. In these moments, it's important to remember that God will never fail you. His promises are not based on the things that we can see or control, but on His eternal and unchangeable nature. His guidance is not subject to the whims of the world or our own limitations. God's will is powerful and enduring, and His ability to work in our lives is not hindered by the trials we face. Even when we cannot see the way forward, God's providence is still at work, leading us toward our ultimate purpose. This is a comfort that provides a deep sense of peace, knowing that God is always faithful, always present, and always working on our behalf. At times, we may question why certain things happen in our lives. Why does pain persist? Why does the road seem so difficult? It's in these moments that we are invited to trust more deeply, to lean into our faith and remember that God's plan is far greater than our immediate understanding. His ways are not our ways, and His timing is not our timing. But one thing is for certain, God will never fail us. Even when it seems like the weight of the world is too much to bear, He is there to carry us, to sustain us, and to guide us towards something greater. The promise that God will never fail you is not just a distant hope for the future. It is a present reality that empowers us to face each day with courage, knowing that we are not alone and that His strength will always be there to lift us up. Now, I know there are moments when it feels like God's presence is distant, and you may wonder, why isn't He stepping in right now? It's easy to get lost in the struggle, to think that maybe we're just not good enough, that we don't deserve help. But I promise you, God does not work on your timetable. He works on His. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't make sense to us. Sometimes the waiting and the struggle are shaping you for something greater, for a future you cannot yet see. In that moment, when you're tired, when you want to give up, remember this: God will never fail you. Perseverance through adversity is one of the most powerful demonstrations of faith and trust in God. When life presents challenges that seem insurmountable, it's easy to feel as though you're being tested beyond your ability to cope. In such moments, the idea of perseverance often feels like an abstract concept, one that may seem impossible to practice. However, the reality is that perseverance, especially with faith in God, is a transformative force that enables individuals to rise above their struggles, to push through seemingly impossible circumstances, and to find strength in the most difficult times. It's in these very moments of adversity that God's presence can be most profoundly felt. Even if His actions may not be immediately visible to us, it's a reminder that things won't always happen when we want them to, but that doesn't mean they won't happen. When we are able to endure with patience, we begin to develop a deeper sense of trust in God's perfect plan, knowing that He will provide what we need when the time is right. Finally, perseverance through adversity is a testament to the strength of our faith. It shows others the power of belief, not just in times of peace, but also in the midst of storm. When we stand firm in our faith during difficult times, it becomes a witness to the world of the sustaining power of God's grace. People around us may be watching, and our ability to remain hopeful and steadfast, even when life is hard, can inspire others to trust in God's faithfulness as well. It's through these moments of adversity that the true depth of our belief is revealed. Not in easy times, but in those when everything else seems to be falling apart. Through perseverance, we learn that adversity is not something to be feared or avoided, but an opportunity for growth, reflection, and deeper connection with God. In the end, perseverance in the face of adversity is a choice to trust, to endure, and to believe that God will never fail us. No matter how tough the journey may seem, you might not always see the immediate results. You might not feel the strength you wish you had in the moment. But trust me when I tell you that perseverance through faith will bring you to the other side. And that side, that place where victory is earned, that is where you see the results of your trust in Him. It's in the struggle that your faith is refined. It's in the battle that your character is strengthened. When life gives you more than you can bear, that's when you need to lean in closer to God, not away from Him. That's when you need to remember that His strength will carry you through. God will never fail you. He's not a man who makes promises He cannot keep. His word is true, His love unbreakable, and His power undeniable. When we talk about the strength to derive from belief, we are delving into one of the most profound and transformative aspects of faith. Belief in God is not simply a passive act of agreeing with religious teachings. It is an active living force that shapes how we navigate the world, how we confront challenges, and how we endure life's difficulties. This belief, this faith becomes the foundation upon which we build our strength to face anything that comes our way. It is not just about believing in the existence of God, but about trusting in His power, His love, and His ability to work in our lives in ways we may not fully comprehend. This belief, in its deepest form, grants us an inner fortitude that no external circumstance can shake. At its core, belief in God provides us with a sense of purpose. When we believe that our lives have meaning beyond mere existence, it changes the way we approach every challenge. Knowing that there is a higher purpose, a divine plan at work, gives us a reason to keep going even when things seem hopeless. This belief offers clarity in the midst of confusion, reminding us that we are not random or insignificant. Every step we take, even the painful ones, is part of a larger journey that has been ordained by a loving and purposeful Creator. The strength that comes from this belief helps us to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear or difficult to navigate. It assures us that there is a reason for the struggle, and that through faith, we will eventually see how it all fits together. Belief in God also fosters a sense of peace that transcends understanding. Life can be chaotic, filled with stress, uncertainty, and fear of the unknown. When we rely solely on our own strength, we may feel overwhelmed by these emotions. But when we place our trust in God and lean on His promises, we find a peace that doesn't depend on our circumstances. This peace, which comes from the deep-rooted belief that God is in control, enables us to remain calm and focused, even in the face of adversity. It's not that difficulties won't arise, but rather that our response to them is transformed. The strength derived from belief allows us to face challenges with a steady heart and a clear mind, knowing that we are not alone in the struggle. We are empowered by the understanding that God is walking with us through every trial, providing us with the strength we need to endure. Moreover, belief in God brings us a sense of resilience that cannot be found in human effort alone. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks, to bounce back from adversity, and to keep going even when it seems like all is lost. While human resilience is admirable, the strength that comes from belief in God takes resilience to another level. It is the kind of resilience that looks beyond the immediate moment and trusts that, no matter how dire the situation may seem, there is a greater purpose at work. This belief helps us to persevere, to keep moving forward, and to stay hopeful, even when our circumstances do not seem to warrant hope. It is a supernatural kind of resilience, one that is sustained not by our own willpower, but by the strength of God working in us. This belief also instills in us a sense of courage, the courage to face life's difficulties with the confidence that God is with us every step of the way. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. Rather, it means having the strength to move forward despite fear. When we believe that God is walking beside us, fear loses its power over us. This belief equips us with the courage to face challenges head on, knowing that we are not fighting alone. God's presence provides us with the boldness to confront what may seem insurmountable, and to press on even when the world around us is shaking. It is this kind of courage that enables us to stand firm in our faith, to face the storms of life with a sense of purpose, and to remain unshaken in the midst of turmoil. Additionally, belief in God fosters a sense of inner peace that allows us to maintain our integrity in the face of pressure. Life often demands that we compromise our values, whether in our personal lives, our work, or in our interactions with others. However, when we believe in God and trust in His guidance, we are less likely to give in to these pressures. The strength from belief allows us to stand firm in our convictions, to live according to our values, and to make decisions that honor God. This integrity, rooted in a strong belief in His word and His promises, provides us with the strength to do what is right, even when it's difficult or unpopular. It enables us to make choices that reflect our faith and values, no matter the external pressures we face. Furthermore, the strength that comes from belief is not something we must generate on our own. It is something that God provides. In moments of weakness, when we feel like we cannot go on, It is in these moments that God's strength becomes most apparent. The Apostle Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 12:9, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This is the paradox of faith, that in our moments of weakness, God's strength is magnified. When we rely on His power rather than our own, we find that we are capable of far more than we ever thought possible. It is this divine strength that enables us to carry on when we have nothing left to give, and to keep going even when we feel like we are at the end of our rope. Belief in God, therefore, is not just a mental agreement, but a living force that empowers us to live with purpose, peace, resilience, courage, and integrity. It's the belief that God is always with us, working in us and providing us with the strength we need to face each day. It is a belief that sustains us through life's challenges and equips us to overcome anything that comes our way. In times of trouble, this belief is not just a comfort, but a source of power, God's power that enables us to endure and emerge stronger. The strength that comes from belief is not something we must summon from within ourselves. It is a strength that flows from God, one that we can rely on every single day. In conclusion, the journey of faith is not without its trials, but it is in these moments of adversity that we discover the true power of belief. Through perseverance, trust, and the strength we derive from our unwavering belief in God, we are equipped to face life's challenges head on. We are reminded that God will never fail us, that His presence is with us through every storm, and that His plans for us are always greater than the struggles we endure. It is through these trials that our faith is refined, our character strengthened, and our purpose realized. Remember, no matter the difficulty, you are never alone. God's strength is sufficient, and with Him by your side, there is nothing you cannot overcome. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on these powerful truths today. May you find peace, strength, and courage as you walk through life, knowing that with God's guidance, you will persevere. Good luck on your journey, and always keep your faith alive, because God will never fail you. Thank you.